What's up guys, Foxen here. You just saw Attack on Titan Season 2 Episode 4. Let me go ahead and delve into this with you. So right from the beginning, holy crap, this episode was set up to begin with a bang. What the hell was that at the very start? Those freaking Titans must be getting hungry. There was this one that didn't even wait for humans. The fellow Titan next to it was just good enough. It instantly started ripping it apart, starting with that ear. It did happen to cut away, so what exactly was the aftermath of that? Moving on, let's talk about the mystery of the Titans. Some of you were mentioning it in my last review, and in case you missed it, it got brought up again here too. There was that detail that the scouts mentioned that there was a possibility that there wasn't any hole at all in the walls. In this episode, Krista was the one to bring this up again. In other words, what they're trying to get to with this is how exactly did all of these Titans make it inside the inner walls? Let's go down the list with a few possibilities. Possibility 1. Mr. Bigfoot Titan was just throwing those Titans over one by one. That beast Titan seems to be respecting the walls anyway. I wouldn't put it past him throwing the Titans one after another over the wall. I mean, who cares anyway, right? Once those Titans splatter over, they could just quickly regenerate. Possibility 2. The Titans can now fly. Honestly, if these giant mofos could really fly, I'm just calling it. Give it up. If that's true, there's no point in even trying anymore. Possibility 3. The Titans can now teleport, or someone is teleporting them over. So with this one, same thing as flying. If this is possible, this is game over for humanity. But anyway, I could keep on coming up with weird reasons about this, but it's most likely the most obvious one. Possibility number 4. Somehow all these Titans are being born within the inner walls. For whatever reason, people, aka humans, are getting turned against their will into these zombie Titan creatures. They've already been hinting at this from episode 1 and 2, and in episode 3, it was just made even more obvious. But I guess that wasn't enough, because in this episode, just in case you weren't sure, they made sure to hammer it into your freaking head. And I'm talking about what freaking Coney brought up, how that Titan reminded him of his mother. What's more interesting at this point is just how Rainer keeps on trying to change his mind about this. I wonder why he's so persistent. And talking about Rainer, we did briefly get some type of backstory for him in a flashback. It was short, but I'm really glad that they're giving us more motivation for these characters. We also did get that strange scene between Rainer and Ymir at the end of the previous episode. You now see what that was all about. I was thinking that Rainer was a little suspicious, but he doesn't even compare to Ymir. So let me just get to it, the best. Ymir is a freaking Titan. That's right, her ass is capable of turning into a Titan, just like Eren and just like Annie. How long has she been able to do this? And why is she even able to turn into a Titan? Honestly, who the hell freaking knows? But it seems like Ymir has this very strong connection to Krista because of this Titan knowledge. This, once again, is just hammering how important this little blonde girl is. But before that final scene, there was that brief interaction between Rainer and Ymir. So I said Rainer was acting suspicious, but Ymir just one-upped him. Clearly, she knows a lot about these Titans and some other things too. For some reason, she's able to read this unknown language. This language being either some lost ancient language, or just some language that exists in some other part of the world. If this is true, there's really just further implications if there's language from somewhere else. This, however, does not help Rainer's case either. I'm not sure whether Rainer was hinting that he didn't know how to read it, or whether he could read it, and that's what tipped him off about Ymir. Anyway, for the worst here. Unfortunately, we got even more scouts taken out this episode. Not really too much of a surprise though. Some of the no-names got taken out at the very start, and then even the two most experienced ones also fell. God damn it, I was just starting to like them too. I thought perhaps these guys would make it at least until the very end of the season, but nope. Unfortunately, it always comes down to a simple mistake, or just these scouts running out of frickin' gas. The worst part about it too, was 2 more gruesome deaths for them. And here I was thinking that perhaps I was getting used to these Titans ripping people apart, but that's definitely not the case. By the way, as a side note, you did see that beast Titan here briefly. This guy has already made it to the top and to the other side of the wall at this point. You could really only imagine what he's up to. Or she. We don't know if this thing is a guy or girl. What is interesting is how this beast Titan does seem to have control of these other Titans. You can see the Titans listening to the beast to a certain extent back in episode 1, Now in this one, at least based on what the scouts were saying, it seems that he was commanding them even further. I don't think even Annie was capable of doing that. That's definitely pretty crazy, and not to mention, dangerous. Before ending, I almost forgot. That freaking scene was Reiner. Seriously, don't mess with this guy. For a moment, I thought he was gonna pull a Hodor. That Titan was almost about to get these guys, but he said nope. Screw you, Titans. He pulled a freaking Captain America and just grabbed that Titan, took it up the stairs, and almost threw it over. Someone else took that final moment from him. Seriously, don't mess with freaking Reiner. That was so badass. Just how strong is this guy? So, how does this episode compare to the rest so far? Did you think there was enough action this time? I'm sure you also must have some theories about Reiner and especially Ymir. Go ahead and leave those down below. As always, make sure to give a like to this weekly Attack on Titan review. It'll make your weekend that much more awesome. Next week, we got some Titan on Titan action. Make sure to subscribe and check back next week, and I'll see you guys later.